Recently I only meet peace when in deep sleep in the same dream. World safe, smile on her face, waiting on the other side. I wonder if you'll take me to the other side. Yeah.
This is my attempt at vlogging how we are growing the podcast. It's 6 p.m. 4th of May. We just did one recording yesterday with Sanand, who is the founder of Virality. We did episode 13, episode 14. Now we have another episode with Kaustubh, who is popularly known as KD Cloudy. This set is all set up. That's where I sit, that's where Subhash sits, this is where Kaustubh sits. Yes. Before the episode, we came to the realization that Sanand might be a big deal, and it turned out that we were right because he was a super fucking big deal.
No, we didn't know that. We didn't know that. But he was.
Yeah, at one point before.
He felt illiterate when he was.
Yeah, dude, I felt like a peasant, man. I felt like I was going to cult every day. Gee. But at one point before we started recording, we were sitting with him in my room and we were just like chit-chatting and, you know, breaking the ice. Like I was indirectly asking, okay, is the agency like a good business? How big is this business? Like Shebang is there. Compared to Shebang, how big are you guys? And then he just like, he told us all the numbers. And I mean, it's there in the episode when he's talked about it, but like I don't want to like keep on advertising it, so definitely go and watch. But his business is massive. He's a double-digit millionaire. Like if he were to sell his agency today, he would sell it for like double-digit millions of US dollars. Today's episode is going to be about like the second order benefits of making content, right? Kaustubh is, of course, he's been like a tech YouTuber for what, 10 years now. We'll be talking to him about of course his journey and switch and all of that, but we'll also be talking to him about how he got his job, because I have a feeling that he's been getting a lot of his sort of career opportunities because he's doing so well in content.
Kaustubh is here. We had a nice, I think, half an hour chat, which was just like an icebreaker. Now I'm just going to quickly change my t-shirt and should be.
I think you guys can do a better job than what.
But yes, we just recorded the episode with the man himself. A lot of dreams came true. Please watch the episode to know what I mean. But yeah, now we are just going to take Polaroid pictures and pictures for the thumbnail. I will just put this thumbnail.
Finally, a guest has actually gifted us something.
Why are you saying it as if?
No, we are getting important.
Like shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
I wanted to get to, but they only had one. So
Thank you so much.
Share it.
Yeah, bro.
So I sent out emails to 17 people and 15% have opened it, 3% have clicked on it and 3% have replied. That being said, yeah, pretty exciting stuff. Sharks dive, they don't swim, gotta keep swimming.
Before we get into this episode, I just want to say something. 85% of you are still not subscribed. These episodes take so long for us to create. We have not just the production, but we spend so much time in researching the guest, calling the right people, making sure that there is a lot of value for you sitting behind that screen in watching the entire episode. That being said, we do all of this completely for free. All we ask for return is that wherever you are listening or watching this, you scroll down and you spend 2 seconds to just like the video and click on that subscribe button. It helps us honestly stay motivated because likes do kind of feel good. At the same time, call bigger and better guests, because a lot of times guests only come when you have a big show, and you can't have big shows without great guests. So if you want better strategists, agency owners, and just in general creators and people in the content space, do hit that subscribe button so we can get them to you every week. Hope you enjoy the episode.
It's very astonishing to sort of think back that we did not have guests for such a long time.
Correct.
And we
So the
started
previous
having
guest
just
we
guests.
had was Ritin, and Ritin had come on 28 Jan. So we probably recorded it early Jan. It's almost been 6 months.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Effectively. Crazy, dude. It's been a wild ride. I feel like that 01 episode was pretty pivotal because I wrote that LinkedIn post. We'll show the footage on screen.
Right.
We had that footage, with animation when we were recording.
Yeah.
I remember I uploaded that LinkedIn post the day that we had the animation recording. And Pratik DM'd me. Comment came the day before.
Right.
The DM came the next day. It's pretty wild, man. And that one really took off. And
Oh yeah.
that was the day then we invited Rohit also from Zero Tha.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with him. So it's been pretty crazy.
Oh.
The people that we've been able to reach, like it's just like one entire new level has been unlocked with the show.
And we used to have this conversation a lot, right? We are not able to like really figure out, should we have a lot of guests, should we not have a lot of guests? Kya
Then we
karna
were
hai?
having,
Yeah.
fuck bro, that feels so long ago.
Yeah.
I've
And
been down in the trenches. I've almost forgotten
this
about
is
that
definitely Jan. I remember having this conversation
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Jan saying, bro, like, should we call guests? Kya
Correct,
karenge
correct.
exactly?
Will we be able to handle
Yeah.
guests? And now we're doing only
I
guests.
guess.
For context, we are recording this on the 29th of May. And since that 01 episode that we're talking about, we have recorded and published with Animesh, Rohit from Zero Tha, Sanand from Virality, KD Cloudy,
Suraj.
Bodu, director/DOP for WTF podcast, and Sindhu Biswal.
Yes.
Do we have anyone else? No, right?
No.
Yeah.
Suraj and Sindhu
Sindhu Biswal, and we have like a bunch of cool people.
coming
So
up.
we have this interesting project coming up that I don't know how or when it'll pan out, but
We are manifesting that project to happen.
yeah,
If we are being
we're
honest.
already talking to the creators. But there's
Right.
this food channel called the Big Forkers, but they're not like massive, like 70,000 subscribers. Extremely, like I'm a huge fan, but I don't think they'll be known in a lot of places, right? Because they're like that niche sort of high taste wala show. The Bangalore crowd and all will know.
Oh, yeah. We
But
might
dude, if you
know.
go to Bombay, Delhi, there's so
Right.
many so many food shows. But yeah, so we're talking to them. We're talking to the Big Focus. I'm supposed to talk to Sid and Shanky either today or tomorrow. And we're hoping to do like a live in-person meetup, right? So where very similar to when they go to a restaurant and they shoot the food and everything. So we do exactly that, but we do this format of talking about content. That's one. Second is possibly after that have like some sort of meetup where we call a bunch of people who are in content, let's say with like in the F&B space, or people who want to make food shows or things like that, and get to have like a live one-on-one with Sid and Shanky talking about how they created the show, any insights on what the conversion has looked like or what the impact of it has been that some other people can also learn from. So if you are interested, definitely let us know down below or like DM us on Instagram, and then we'll ensure to add you to the guest list. I wanted this episode to be like a recap of what all we have learned in the past 7 episodes of talking to so many guests. We've had like a variety of guests, right? We've had like Sanand, who's an ad agency owner, and he's doing like $10 million a year rounded up. Then we've had the content person at Zero Tha, and who's like sold his sort of content company. Then we had Suraj and KD, I would say, both in the YouTube space.
YouTubers turned service providers.
Correct. Well, I wouldn't call KD a service provider, but like YouTuber turned using their YouTube skills to earn money, but like
Not through YouTube.
not through YouTube. Yeah.
Right.
Which is very interesting.
Like skills that they learn through YouTube,
Correct.
but implemented in their own life,
Correct.
get ahead
so
in their career.
alumni to YouTube University, you can say.
Yeah.
So we've talked to them. Then Sindhu is again like a extremely sort of senior, I would say, marketing person, growth person. He's done like a variety of things. That episode was like 3 hours long. We're yet to fully edit that. Then we've also talked to Animesh is there. Again, I would say YouTube University, but more sort of the Johnny Harris / Vox kind of a person. So we'll just quickly go over what the things that we have learned from each of these people, right?
Yeah.
So I remember talking to Animesh, and a couple of things stood out. The first was that making long form video essays has a lot to do with taste, right? I would say taste and team. So the 2 T's to success in long form videos. And I say this because I'm also kind of in that space. And if you don't have a team, it's really difficult to implement this at scale. So Animesh actually is working on this new series where, he has, I think, 7 or 9 episodes, something like that. And he couldn't have done it without his team, right? He
Yeah.
has like one producer, he has one editor, maybe 2 editors.
Yeah.
And
Thankfully, he knows a lot of how production works, so it becomes
Correct.
easier for him on
he's
the
a writer
production
himself,
front.
he's a
Yeah.
director himself,
Yeah.
cinematographer himself.
Yeah.
I feel like for long form video essays, if anyone watching is, wanting to make long form content, I think now is a great time to explore this, because I'm also exploring it with Gyan Central. Because if you think about it, everyone is like making a lot of shorts and just in depth. I was reading this LinkedIn post by Rahul Mathur.
Mm-hmm.
He is a VC at The VC, and he also is now on the Breakdown channel that was started by Varun Maya. And he was talking about how like long form solo content has now become like less, right? You don't find a lot of people just like sitting on the screen. These people open letter, open comment, Dhruv Rathi type people do it, but they're at like a different scale, right? So just like very niche sort of, hey, I did my research. That OG era of talking header Aliya Dal style videos, right? But like they're a lot more research. That is not there a lot now.
Why do you think that is?
You have a lot of people entertaining, and in general because of Instagram. So it's kind of a two-sided thing, right? One is that the attention span has reduced, and second is the democratization of creation. So it's easier to make content. So naturally, the new people who are coming to make content will not gravitate towards a thing that will take longer to, show results.
Right.
They'll go more towards, hey, let me just like put out shorts, get some result. If it works, I'll go to long form.
Do you think that also applies for people on like the bigger side also? Because now they were only used to making a lot of long form. Now
Bigger
they are
side
like,
as
oh,
in?
even bigger creators, they were doing a lot of long form content. Now all of a sudden there is also a requirement that they have to push out small, like short form content.
Right.
And because of like that necessity now to push out that short form
a
content
very,
is, do you
very
think that also might
interesting
have
take.
affected?
Yeah. So I have this sort of non-obvious take on who should make long versus short. Actually, just before this, I was talking to that VC friend, right? Trying to understand more the VC space in India. And he said something very interesting is like, for the use case of a VC, because for context, you work in the VC space, production. I work only in the VC/founder space for podcasts and content. And he was talking about how for VCs, short form doesn't make sense because short form does not increase trust, nor does it increase conversion for something as significant as funding, right? You won't be looking at, hey, like this person is making shorts inherently. Of course, there are exceptions, but you won't be looking at shorts and being like, hey, I trust this person. You would do it on a longer form conversation when they're truly sharing their thoughts, right? So I think just to show that, hey, I'm getting numbers, it's great. But most of these sort of brand building activities, not even like reputation building activities, don't happen on short form. Do you know Soch by Mohak Mangal?
Yes.
Dude, did you see the
Yeah,
thing that
we-
happened with him? Were we
Yeah.
talking about this?
We were watching the episode when we were uploading last time. I remember because we put that story
correct,
also.
correct.
No? Yeah.
So he had that thing that Ani,
Right.
they're basically like what's
News
it called?
channel.
Blackmailing them,
Correct.
saying that, hey, so YouTube has this very weird thing for people who don't know that I can put a strike on you
Yeah.
regardless of the authenticity of that strike. I can just be like,
No,
Subhash,
I
use
think
my-
I think it has to be authentic. I don't think
no, but,
you
but
can
then
you can copyright.
it's not. It's like you are guilty until proven innocent.
Huh, but
So I can just put copyright strikes on you, and regardless of how you're appealing it with YouTube, if it falls under that gray area of, hey, you use my logo or you use my whatever, which I think is like fair use, if I'm not wrong. So you can just keep doing that, and if you do, I think 3 or 5 strikes, then the channel is automatically deleted. So
Oh.
it's actually a loophole where if someone wants to exploit and just like putting strikes on another channel, they can just like take the whole channel down.
But my question is, isn't there like any format of
Appeal?
not appeal? There should be some way that they are confirming, is this a legit like complaint that has been
Imagine the
raised?
scale of YouTube, right? They're like
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of channels. How they have to have some automated way of doing it.
Huh.
That's why if you
But
remember,
even if it's automated, there has to be some way that they are telling ki,
I don't
okay,
think
this is a
it's
legit strike.
It's an efficient process.
Okay.
Again, copyright and IP laws have been in the
Yeah,
gray area, right?
it
You
generally
can't-
has been, like, in
that's
very
the
gray.
nature of
Yeah.
So you can't really do anything about that. But So long story short, basically ANI News, which is ANI stands for what? Asia News in something. ANI News was threatening Mohak, saying that hey, we
Yeah.
will get your channel deleted unless you pay us like 50
50
lakhs.
lakhs.
50 lakhs, bro.
Yeah.
What the hell? And then Mohak, in the most badass manner ever, he just uploads a video that has 5.8 million views as of today,
Right.
which was uploaded 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Saying that I'm Mohak and I'm not scared. It
Scared,
was like
yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest fuck you to ANI News ever.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah, bro. I love the video. And I think it goes both ways, right? See, also they have used the content pieces. And for ANI, like a company built on news, they
But
make
would have
their
done the
bread and
same
butter.
at some point.
Yeah, giving out footages. And I can understand like the angle of, oh, you can't use without paying. Yeah, I can understand. But 50 lakhs is
Correct.
too much to be asking
And
from
they, no,
anybody.
they framed it as like this is
Subscription for
us
2 years. Yeah,
for
yeah.
you to use anything
Yeah.
that we put out.
Yeah.
But it's so ironic. Remember when we were talking about the whole latent thing?
Yeah.
And how Arnab Goswami was telling these people that, hey, how are you making that joke? And
Right.
not just that parent joke, but also maybe it was on the
On the show itself.
concept of the show itself.
Right,
Something like
right.
that. And people are like, dude, you do the same exact thing. Like, this is what you have done.
In
So
your
how,
news
how
channel.
are you now being a
Right.
hypocrite and turning around and saying someone else can?
Yeah.
So I feel like, media that way is very weird. But anyway,
True.
my point,
Yeah.
we came on a tangent, but my point was ki Mohak Mangal on his official page,
Right.
he does not make shorts. Which makes sense, right? If you think about it, the effort of making a long form video, the length of long form video versus effort, and the same for short form video, length versus effort versus ROI, is exponentially higher for long form. You will get probably like 10 to 30 lakhs per video off of a long form video. An estimate.
Yeah.
10 to 30
Views,
lakhs.
you mean.
Right. No, dude. Money.
10 to 30 lakhs?
Yeah, bro. Dude, his videos get like 3 million, 2 million,
okay.
1.5 million.
So you are saying from AdSense
No.
Then?
Brand deal.
brand deals. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, of course,
Oh,
he
like
wouldn't
we
be
are just like,
he
we're
was-
just
he-
saying out of
again, I
whatever
don't know.
we know.
I don't know. I'm just
We don't know. We're
guesstimating.
just guessing.
But he would probably be earning somewhere between, let's say, even on the lower end, 5 to 10 lakhs.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Dude, each video is getting massive traction. If I'm not wrong, KK Creates went on Beer Biceps and she was talking about she's earning 5 to 10. Maybe it's lesser. I'm not sure.
I think
But
it's
per
per
video
video.
for sure.
Yeah, it's a significant number.
Significant number.
Yeah. And she mentioned that she spends 60% of her.
I haven't seen that episode, so I'm not
Acha,
sure.
okay.
But yeah, let's say even if you take like 5 lakhs,
Right.
We're pure speculating here. But if we're talking about 5 lakhs, if he's earning 5 lakhs from like a long form video versus a short will make nothing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense for him from like a business standpoint to invest his editor bandwidth into making shorts. Might as well just make longs, right? Just like get that person to work on a long form video and
But-
just like more
But like
ROI.
we understand that like shorts is very important to get new audience into your channel.
But he doesn't need new audience, no?
Like I feel like every creator needs new audience.
I don't think after a certain point. So again, this is economies of scale.
Okay.
I'm working with that other larger creator, right?
Right.
So he has some 5, 6, 7 million subscribers. And what I've realized, the rules of the game at 0 to 1 million don't apply to 5 plus million. The game completely changes.
Right.
Dude, Mohak is probably, let's see his view stats profile. Can you guess how many views he's getting only on long form a month?
5 million?
5 million.
I'm guessing, bro. Here.
70 million, bro. Long form
So
views.
far off.
His AVD is probably for these many views. It's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like on a 30-minute video, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is massive,
Yeah.
right?
Like the amount
Probably
of
it's like
watch
10
hours that
minutes.
he's like
Yeah,
rolling in
it's
insane.
insane.
Yeah.
Mohak Mangal has 4.5 million subscribers. He gets 66 million long form views. Okay.
Wow.
So he got in the last 28 days on a 4.5 million subscriber channel, 66 million views. Dhruv Rathi has 28.6 million subscribers. He got 74 million views.
What? Bro, like essentially there is almost no difference
Yeah.
in the kind of views that
Yeah.
he is able to pull in.
So my point is ki Sojbhai Mohak Mangal is doing phenomenally well.
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that being said,
Or is it because of the video? Do you think it might also be because of the
which
video?
video?
Like the Annie video that just went out.
No, his average is like 2.5. Ani got 5, so not
Right.
that much high.
Huh, true.
It's not like 2.5 and
Huh,
20.
correct.
So
Got it.
it won't get skewed that way. But point is ki Sohaj Pai Mokhmoil is doing very well.
Yeah.
Now, being like that prolific, dude, he will command like some really premium prices. And if you think about it, this is what we talked about in the Rohit and the KD episode. Right? So the Rohit episode, we talked about this concept of how do you value your viewers. So you value them based on the quality of the viewers, right?
Right.
Or I would rephrase this as saying, how do you align your viewers to a potential advertiser? Now, this differs at scale, like the different levels of scale. But if you think about it, after you reach a certain point, anything over 5 million, I would say, subscribers, everything just converges because you're at such a high level. You are playing a volume game. You're not playing a surgical advertising game, right? So people just come to you. Like, for example, I was watching the roast by Ashish Solanki last night. And it's sponsored by Brocode. Then I think if you remember, Latent, a bunch of episode was sponsored by Viba.
Yeah.
The cup noodles.
Cup noodles,
right?
and also there was one more sponsor, if I'm not wrong.
Could be.
Yeah.
So these two, if you take,
Like some sexual wellness brand or
could
something.
be, I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Just if you take these two, Viba and Brocode, they are not looking for, hey, we are only looking to target this kind of people. No. They are looking for, hey, can we just get to as many people as possible? Right? For example, Ankur Warikoo, I noticed, did a recent deal with Adobe Acrobat.
Oh, correct.
Their
Yeah,
entire
yeah, yeah.
suite.
Yeah.
You see that ad everywhere.
Yeah.
At least I'm seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, I'm also seeing it.
Now, they're not doing that with him so that, only Gen Z from like 15 to 18 will see it. No. They are doing it because Ankur Warikoo has a huge brand. They just want to be associated with that brand.
Right.
Right? So, now if you were to kind of think of, hey, what is my audience worth? I was having this conversation with KD. Right? Okay, like how, if we were to think of some monetization strategies, how do we go about it? Right? So first is that you understand, okay, who is it that's watching? For example, we also, if you think about it, we had an interesting same conversation with Sindhu also.
Right.
Sindhu talks about how can you create real estate or create opportunities within the digital real estate that you already have. For example, we have a YouTube community post that we don't use.
Right.
Let's say, for example, tomorrow we start using it,
Right.
right? And let's say we go to, I want to do this. Have you heard of this company called Creo? Kreo? They are a hardware company for like computer
Right.
accessories,
Uh,
mics,
I-
headphones, things like this.
I've heard of them, but not really.
Yeah, they're pretty like big and they keep sponsoring. Or like a Green Soul gaming chairs, right? Or I mean, I am heavy into like this productivity, tech, comfort, things like this. So we can easily find a company that is aligned with that hey, okay, can we sponsor? Or why can't we go to like a Shure and be like, or an Audio Technica,
Yeah.
and be like, hey, can we? Lumio would be great, KD's company.
Yeah.
Right? That hey, we have people, we are personally invested in this thing.
Right.
We would love if you are also aligned with this.
Yeah.
Right? So it is just about understanding, okay, like what is that sort of common overlap that you can find, right? But that was, I think, a common thread that I can think of across multiple guests. Sindhu talked about something very interesting of like, can you find that low effort, high ROI real estate? It could be your LinkedIn. It could be, we were talking about the comments on someone else's post.
Correct.
So this takes creativity and probably it has very less lifespan. Right? Maybe
But
like
when it has money.
But if you can catch on to it, it has money.
Yeah.
For example, if we are doing that food episode with Big Forkers, right? Why can't we? I was thinking of reaching out to like a B2B F&B brand, something like a Viba or that person who creates the oven in like bakeries.
Nosh.
Or
There's a company called Nosh which does like
or
appliances
the person
for
who
automated
makes
cooking or something.
appliances for kitchen.
Correct.
Or the person who makes like restaurant specific things.
Right.
Or it could be have you heard of Pet Puja? So this is one of the most popular, actually I should do this. Pet Puja, if you're watching, please check your inbox. But Paid Puja is the B2B app that they use to communicate with customers on like SMS. And it does it,
Oh.
the entire interface is run by Paid Puja, if I'm not wrong. So why can't we reach out to a Paid Puja and be like, hey, we would love to do this. We're doing like a food related thing, and this is how we want to position you, and this is how it will be relevant for you, right? So I think sponsorships and monetization has a lot to do with understanding your audience and also understanding who can you reach out to create that value throughout the chain. You are essentially a middleman, right? So you will get value nonetheless, but you have to ensure that value is being created on both sides of the chain for this to happen sustainably.
Right.
Otherwise, if you are just taking money, then you will look like a sellout.
Right.
And if you are just doing something for your audience that doesn't benefit the sponsor, then it'll just feel like, hey, like, why are we sponsoring you? We're not getting something in return. So I think that was a very interesting sort of thread to pull on.
I really like the point that Sindhu made about like being a creator. You should stop thinking in that lens of, oh, this is how I do things. Come out of that box and think of yourself as a service that can go out.
Correct.
What are different ways in which you can monetize yourself as a service?
Correct.
That I felt
this
was
is
very
exactly
interesting.
what KD and Suraj are also doing, right?
Right.
Even Animesh or even us for that matter.
Yeah.
That this idea that content is not it.
Yeah.
Right. I think I made this analogy that I'm just blown away by my analogies, but I made this analogy that like content is the cherry on top.
Right.
Right. No one is going to buy an ice cream sundae that doesn't have the ice cream.
Yeah.
No one buys the cherry and the sprinkles.
Yeah.
I had a very interesting analogy that I was thinking of when I was in the gym the other day. It's almost like having AirPods. But if you think about it, the AirPods, just the case is worthless.
Right.
Just the buds without the case are worthless.
Right.
You need the case and the buds to come together, and then suddenly it's worth like 40,000 rupees or 20,000.
Weak analogy, but okay.
Whatever, right? So if you think about it, it's
Correct.
something that sure the case
It
by
has to fit
itself,
together. Correct.
There's only so much that you can do just with the case, right?
Yeah.
Or let's say I see that Polaroid, like a Polaroid, right? But Polaroid without the thing inside, without the film inside, right? You need the film and you need the camera for
Right.
it to truly be of value. Content is a little more on this thing side. It's the cherry, right? It's like that golden cherry that makes it worth from 100 rupees to 500 rupees. But that cherry by itself is worth like 10 rupees.
I mean,
So
nobody will go
suddenly-
and buy like a gold cherry.
Yeah, so suddenly when you combine it, it explodes in value, right? So you need to have underlying specialized knowledge or specific knowledge of something,
Right.
and then you overlay a layer of content on top, and then like that just becomes so much more valuable. If you think about it, like content just teaches you so much, right? It teaches you scripting, understanding viewers, platforms, basics of like all types of marketing, copywriting, video editing if you're doing it, understanding distribution. Okay, like what can I do with this video? Design, storytelling. So I think that entire stack by itself may not be worth a lot, but if let's say you know all of this, and then let's say you're working for a company, you're working for an individual, you have a business and you're using content, like we hopefully by the time this comes out, we would have recorded an episode with this person called Abhinav Roy
Right.
of Agri Talks.
Yeah.
Right. He has like a massive company that deals in like agricultural products. And then he is doing the content to figure out to like help with marketing for that company, right? Being someone like that, you're a B2B company, and then you have like a massive sort of niche YouTube channel, right? And that's really running or at least increasing the brand value for what you're doing. So that was also an interesting thread.
One specific point that Sanand made about how when you're running an agency, because both of us run agency is a top line business, and you should always look at it like a top line business. No matter how much revenue you make,
Right.
it's always a top line business, and you should always run your books well. That really stuck with me, because there are a lot of times when we sort of get to that compromise because you have to meet payrolls and stuff like that. You clearly forget like what is something that is very crucial to your business that you're not looking at.
As in?
How important it is to make your top line, and how important it is to make budget for your experiments. That becomes very important on your longer
that
run.
stood out for me.
Yeah.
you have to understand, like the breakup was so simple, right?
Yeah.
So if you're getting on a project,
100 rupees if you are getting.
yeah, if your
50.
project is costing you 50 rupees, right? 50 rupees to service.
Yeah.
That includes
Payroll,
payroll,
expenses.
software, expenses, everything. I also have a Google sheet
Right.
for this, right? Simple Google sheet with all of the possible combinations, and then you just fill it in.
Right.
Whatever is there, you just like give it a quantity of, let's say, one editor, half editor, one motion graphic designer, and then that just gives you a total cost. So this is also called COGS, cost of goods served. He just said that, okay, like if your COGS is 50 rupees, then you just double it and then you charge the client that amount. And out
Right.
of the double, 25%.
Of whatever you make,
Is-
just put it in bank account.
Yeah, I mean, like if let's say it costed you 50 rupees, you charge 100, and out of that, 25 is your profit that you just save, you tuck it in.
Right.
And the remaining 25 is for experiments. Like you were
Experiments,
saying.
yeah.
You just like try new things.
Yeah.
Right? That made so much sense.
Yeah.
You have to know where the money is going once it comes in. Especially for people that run these ad agencies, right? Like performance marketing. Like they'll take 100 rupees for the client, but then 90 is going in ads. So technically their fees is only 10 rupees. That's why there's so many of these influencer marketing companies that say that, hey, oh, I'm a 10 CR company, right? But out of 10 CR, 9 CR is influencer payments.
Yeah.
So that's not...
A 10 CR company.
Yeah, that's just like top line.
It's 1
right?
CR.
Bottom line is just one
Yeah.
CR.
Why it impacted me so much is because I started thinking of my business differently. So my top line is my business, if I'm being honest. The bottom line, whatever, bro. Like whatever I make is pointless. वो top line कितना है मेरा? That is my
No, I would
actual
actually
business.
think of it ulta.
Why?
I would think of it bottom line. Because whatever is coming in,
Hmm.
that's like saying ki,
No, but
hey,
top line is how much you make, no?
No, that's bottom line.
Oh.
Yeah.
But okay. But words
So
across.
Top
Huh.
line is, let's say, you
How
are
much money
taking
is coming
100
in?
rupees from the client.
Correct.
Bottom line is, hey,
Right.
after everything, 20 rupees is left.
Okay.
So bottom line is what you need to be looking at.
Okay.
Let's say you hired people
Got it,
that
got
were
it, got
going
it.
on the shoot, right?
Yeah.
You hired 5 people. You did whatever.
Correct.
Out of 100 rupees, 70 just went into payroll.
Payroll.
So it doesn't make sense for you to count that payroll into your revenue.
Got it.
You will, because it came into your account.
Got
That
it.
is the top line. But what you account for is 30 rupees.
Yeah.
Out of which you're like, hey, I paid
Yeah.
myself.
I just
I paid this
explained
expense.
it ulta, I feel.
Haan.
Yeah.
So same thing, but you should be looking at the bottom line. Not
Right.
how much is coming, how much is staying.
Hmm.
And what you're doing with that money. So that 30 rupees then becomes the 50,
Right.
25, 25 split.
Got it. Yeah. The insight that I felt crucial was then, which is, oh, my business is just my bottom line. कि इतना ही है मेरा business, बस.
Correct.
Nothing. Like how much
Also,
I make, it doesn't
Another
count.
thing with Sanand that really stood out. Sanand was probably my favorite episode.
Right.
Even now.
Yeah.
The one thing that really stood out, it's just like resilience, right? I think he hit the nail right on the head saying that, hey, you have to work hard. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense because I feel like there was like a lull period, even start of this year, and now I have kind of cranked it up myself, right? And even with these episodes, ensuring that we are on track. I've been writing on LinkedIn, making other content, doing more outreach and things like this. I'm realizing that, yeah, dude, you just do more and you learn more, right? Even just this one call with this VC friend, I was like, hey, okay, it is insightful. Maybe not like very insightful, but like, okay, incremental progress, right? So you just have to like put those reps in. Now I've written like 15 LinkedIn posts in the past 3 weeks, maybe. Dude, I've learned a bunch, right? Just like talking to people, doing all of these experiments. And I remember when we were going to that place, the food place, and I was telling you that, hey man, okay, this 6-week experiment, if I do, I'll learn. And then I'm like 3 weeks into it and I'm like, okay, dude, I'm actually learning something, which is very insightful. I don't know if you know this, but we'll be doing this like 30 reel experiment on the show next
correct.
week.
Yeah.
Which is basically, for those of you listening, we've been uploading 4 to 5 reels a week.
Yeah.
Last 2 weeks have been higher because Sanand has like a following and we just want to do more collab posts with him on Instagram. But then we were talking to Sindhu and then Sindhu was like, okay, like why aren't you doing like 100 reels?
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing like 300 reels?
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, 100, 300 is still like pretty fucking insane. But I just asked the team that, hey, okay, let's do like 30, right? We're doing like 5. Let's crank it up. Let's do 30 reels in the entire week and see what happens, right? That's about like 4 reels a day. Minimally edited, but so by the time this episode comes out, we should have
You should have
already-
seen the results of the experiment
Yeah.
also.
another, I would say, a takeaway for anyone listening would be that I call it bar raising decisions, BRDs. So I learned this from Amazon. There's a great book called, I'm forgetting the name. It's about like Amazon and the internal workings and things like that. But if you are working in any team, there's an entrepreneurial concept. We're just applying it in content. But what is it that you are doing to, one, set the standard really high, and how are you pushing the standard each time? For example, we knew that, hey, we just want to have a chill vibe. So then raising the bar would be that, hey, either we do it outside, or like, can we just do it in a different location, which is in the room, right? So that I would call a bar raiser, right? So just that 1% sort of, what is that
Increment.
extra that you're doing?
Got it.
Because doing the same thing over and over is fine, but I think just every now and then paying a little bit of attention to what is that extra that we can do, what is the thing that we can optimize, and things that we can do, that is very helpful.
I mean, most people might not realize what are the kind of changes that we are making in
Dude,
our
we've been making
day-to-day
so many changes, man.
episodes.
Like, I'm just thinking back with the editing, we tried the slower intro edit,
Yeah.
then now we've increased the quality of the shots that we're putting.
Yeah.
Because now
And
our
also
shit is
we did
involved.
an experiment of should we have like a one single conversation that rather than the hook
that's what,
edit.
the hook.
Yeah.
The hook became, it didn't
Right.
work, so now we're moving back.
Yeah.
Then of course with the thumbnails, we have, after the 01 episode, we have like made a massive upgrade to the thumbnails, I would say,
Yeah.
which we will keep on doing. Then the research process with like Notebook LM has become just incredible.
Yeah. Even like the color of clothes that we are wearing has improved. Like
Correct.
over
Just that
time, I
awareness
feel.
of, like,
yeah,
how-
what can we wear? How can we wear it?
Correct.
That has improved.
Correct. I think,
Uh,
and I feel like we've made more mistakes, right? One insight that we got was, I think in my head at least, I was trying to do a blanket statement of, hey, how should we treat the guest before the episode? As in, like, should we give them a brief or should we not give them a brief? Because especially after one of our earlier episodes, we realized that guests can sometimes be like over prepared if you give them a brief.
yeah.
But now I've realized over time that you have to gauge the sort of camera readiness of the guest, right? So for example, someone like a Sindhu, you don't need to give him a lot because he's already prepared.
Yeah.
Like he does this like on a daily basis. But someone else who doesn't come on long form back and forth conversations, importantly, not just like one sided. Like someone like a Suraj would be great at just like one sided. But if you put him on the spot and ask him questions, he might get,
A little
a
flustered.
little flustered, or he's
Yeah.
just like not used to it.
Yeah.
So it would actually be better if you give him just enough for him to know. So I think that awareness at a guest on guest level is also very important. Then I think it would be important to also talk about team building a little bit. Because in the 01 episode, and I think Sanan talked about this, which reminded me of something that Pratik from Learn App had also said, is that, like, I was basically complaining to Sanan that, hey, these editors are so entitled and they
Right.
charge so much money. And then he just said, he just gave this one liner, see, the market is a market, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't care about how much someone else is asking for if you can't afford it.
Yeah.
If you can't afford it, someone else is paying them, fine. Like, it doesn't matter, right? You find the person that's right for you. And I think that was so powerful.
Yeah.
Because that made me think that, hey, like, their reality is their reality, my reality is my reality. If I cannot afford to pay someone, if I can only afford to pay someone this, then I have to find someone who can work with that. And that brings me to this idea that what is your unfair advantage as a hirer, as an employer, right? Because if you think about it, not everyone can just pay blind money. Like, would you go to work for like a very shitty company if you're getting paid like a mad amount?
No.
Sure, for a small amount of time. But
amount of
after
time,
a
yeah.
while, that money will become meaningless.
Yeah.
So then you'll be chasing something that's a lot bigger than you. I think that's one of the reasons why the fact that we are doing so much content makes so much sense, is also because I have kind of committed in my head that I want to build a personal brand that will just like pull in both clients and talent. Because it's a fucking pain, I realized, dude. I hate it. Just like talking to editors, selling them again and again. I'm like, bro, I don't want to do it, man. I just want to like, expedite that. But I think understanding what is it that you offer. So I think one thing that we offer a lot, if I were to go to like a thumbnail designer, video editor, producer, cinematographer for the agency or the content, would be that, hey, like, we have a lot of lateral room for shifting. So, for example, in an agency, there are like you kind of get pigeonholed into one type of content, one type of client, or one type of work.
Yeah.
Right. So, like you won't if you're an agency that works with like B2B SaaS something, right? B2B SaaS explainer videos, you'd only be doing those kinds of videos. But I think with our operation, the thing that's unique is that we have what you do, which is more in the videography sort of project agnostic. Like you do a lot of interesting things, right? I do more heavily in the podcasting space. And then I also have Gyan Central, where we're trying to figure out some long form stuff. I also have my own content where I just do like normal talking header videos. And then we have the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we have like, so there's just so much space for you to, it's an ecosystem, right? The minute you step in, there's just like something or the other for you
that
to
you
do.
can do.
Yeah.
And once you get bored, I feel you have enough opportunities to
exactly.
try
You can
other
just like
things.
switch.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have to leave. You don't have to worry about, hey, new job, new this, new that.
Right.
The biggest benefit of a podcast is that because this is a lead gen way for us, and because we are building relationships with so many people, dude, once you enter, you have so many exit opportunities.
Oh,
because like imagine if someone was a videographer to an in-person setup, right? If you are good with talking to guests, or if you have a good relationship with two of us, you can just be like, hey, like I really like him, can you just like just introduce me?
Yeah.
Right. And then you can just, if you're a little bit entrepreneurial, talk to that guest, stay in touch, and then convert that into something.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a unique sort of thing that it would only be available for something that we are trying
because
to do.
I don't think most people realize in most places you aren't allowed to do that generally.
Right. Yeah, you talk about this a lot, right?
Yeah, and it's it's part of like the general courtesy, and also because there's a bigger team in play, and like just like too many dynamics involved, and you can't go and pitch like it's your thing, so it doesn't really work out well for you.
Correct.
Any scenario.
Correct. No, that makes sense. I think what has been some of your sort of biggest learnings?
So one thing that has been very different for me specifically has been I have never been like a
on camera
person. I've never been on camera person. Probably this is like one of those few times that I'm still getting used to being in front of the camera. Most people,
but I feel like you've gotten a lot better, especially after that Rohit episode.
Yes, I feel
that
so
was the
too.
inflection point.
Maybe, but I'm still like getting there. I feel in general conversation I'm a lot more lively. Like most people might have who have met me will know. But mostly when I'm in front of the camera, I'm a little like, oh, ye abhi bolna hai, kab bolna hai ye. And whenever you get
It's
a
also
question,
because it's two of us, right? It's not just you.
And in my mind, I'm like, oh, when should I ask? Should I not ask? Kabhi कहना है नहीं कहना है and all that, and I'm sort of getting into that sort of groove of how does this work for me, and I'm starting to lean into the angle of like I am not a very prolific question asker like you. Like you have like what is this a point ho gaya. I'm not that guy.
I'm very anal.
Yeah. For me it's like one specific question that like sort of like has been in like the subconscious mind that suddenly popped up and like ye hai ye nahi hai kyun nahi hai types.
You're the call into my Sameer.
Okay. Yeah, bro.
Like they also have the same this thing. No?
Yeah.
And now we're getting comments also.
Call into yeah, true.
But no, I get what you're saying, dude. This brings me to this point ki, especially when you're doing something with like a partner in any shape or form, right? Dude, it takes time and patience to just have that equation.
Yeah.
Of like, what are you good at? What are they good at?
Yeah.
How are you splitting sort of the work or expectations or all of that?
Yeah.
I think this is the first sort of partnership that I've been doing that has been working out well. Touchwood. And if I were to look back and think of why that is, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we are very different. We are
As
very
people.
different.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but if this was not there, we wouldn't hang out very often.
True.
Like we wouldn't be friends otherwise.
No, I think we would be friends.
So
it was like,
friends as
like,
not
jante
like hang out every day.
Correct.
Right? More of like acquaintances.
Acquaintance,
right?
yeah.
And I think that is one of the strongest
Yeah.
reasons why this is working out.
Yeah. Actually, even when we started shooting, right? When we started the podcast, but I used to always have this like tension that, oh, I'm not doing enough for the podcast.
Right.
Because I inherently am not a person who, one, can't speak a lot. Two, I don't have like that step by step thinking that you have. And I'm generally like like easygoing also. I'm not like on everything. So every time we have had that conversation, like, oh, yeah, मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूँ. And then I understood, okay, my advantage is not knowing everything. My advantage is like making sort of sense of things and picking out what actually works for me and what
Like
actually
balancing
like
out my crazy.
correct.
Yeah. I can't comment on what is working.
Things are starting to work. I
Yeah,
would
that's
say.
what we're
Right.
too young in that thing to fully look back. There aren't enough dots for us to connect.
Yeah.
I what I can say is what has not worked in the past, which I'm not seeing here. Right. One is definitely that overlap in skills, even overlap in personality. I
Right.
think that way there is a lot. There's that yin and yang sort of balance, right?
Right.
I think it's fairly clear what our strengths are. Mine is more on the thinking strategy side. Yours is more on the day-to-day side. Or let's say even in terms of work, editing / strategy,
Production.
right?
Yeah.
So
That's why the frames look so good.
so I feel like that is very helpful.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like
Yeah.
it took some time for me to even realize that this is there. And I went to therapy. I go to my therapist, and he said something that just like clicked and made so much sense. He said that, Adil, because you are so strategic, you look at life as a very input output linear way, right? That hey, I did this, so this should happen, because I'm very like cerebral that way, right? But what you don't understand is relationships don't work that way. It's not that you are doing something and then the other person should also do it. Relationships are more of a very long term game, and you have to nurture it. So it's very much possible that let's say there are periods where I am not quote unquote doing my half, or you are not quote unquote doing your half. But that does not mean that the partnership is not working. Right? So you have to think of it in very long term. Ayush, a friend of mine, same, the web agency person.
Right.
Fuck man, he's another. I'll introduce you.
Right.
I usually look up to that guy. He's like 21, 22. Damn, like way beyond his years. Wise way beyond his years. He
Right.
said something. Bro, skill has nothing to do with a successful partnership. He says that it's more to do with, can that person be there for you in downtimes? Like when you are beating yourself up and when you are depressed or whatever, can that person help you see the light of day? Right? So I feel like that is definitely there for me, at least, right? When I like start overthinking and then I look at you, I'm like, bro, he's so okay.
Bro, that is my
Cool,
advantage, bro.
good.
मुझे होता नहीं है वो.
Yeah, that's what.
So sometimes when I look at you, you're like, हाँ ये करूँगा. Tomorrow I'm doing this fucking 25 posts. I'm like, bro, कहाँ है इतना time? कहाँ से हो रहा है ये सब?
And I think that's my strength, right?
Yeah.
My strength is like, I just have, I don't know, I feel like this learned behavior, but I just like, I like to crank things up, man. Like I crank things up to like that. Like, when you're turning the dial of whatever, and then you come to the edge and like, bro, like one more, one more notch. I like doing that. So I think again, that balance part. So if for anyone listening, I feel like, man, partnerships are hard.
True.
And if you want to work with someone, always think of it long term. Another thing that we have kind of organically come to is, there isn't a lot of money involved per se right now.
Yeah.
But most of the things we don't look at, hey, like, what are you doing? What am I doing? Right?
Yeah.
I also look at it that, hey, it's okay. Whatever we are doing, it's fine. Let's just do it 50-50 because it's just easier.
Right.
And I think YC also says something similar, is ki, I keep reading into like startups and so there's one entire concept is like, how do you split equity between co-founders, right?
Right.
So part of it is on the objective side of hey, like, what do you bring to the table?
Hmm.
Right? Oh, I bring capital, I bring network, I have the idea, I have
Right.
the MVP. And part of it is just, hey, like, how do you want the other person to feel?
Hmm.
Right? Like, if I were to come in here and say that, hey man, I'm bringing all the equipment and I had the idea, I just want to co-host, which someone pitched me this recently, you know about
Huh, yes.
I
That
just,
was actually almost the little words. Ki, oh, I will do everything. You can
just
come.
like manage it.
Huh.
So it's like, how do you want the other person to feel? Right?
Yeah.
So regardless of the investments from each side might be uneven, but that is today.
Yeah.
10 years down the line, today will be insignificant.
Right.
So I think I have learned to start looking at partnerships that way, because when you start out, it's very, but मैं तो ये कर रहा हूँ. I had that in the first 2-3 times when I did this. So this time around, it just became very कि यार मतलब काम करना है, बाकी का देख लेंगे.
Yeah.
Again, we're
I've also had like failed partnerships before. So I've understood ki I can't be this because just because it matters to me and just because I think this way, not everybody thinks that way. So वैसा like देख के चलने का.
correct. On that note of team, I also think, dude, it takes so much time to find the right team, man.
Yeah.
I mean, now the people that we have, or just like, not just the internal team, but the network that I at least have been able to build, right, over time. Now I feel like I'm at a place where it's slowly starting to be कि okay, अब मेरे को थोड़ा 1% लोग मिल रहे हैं.
Right.
Or at least I know, even through your network,
Yeah.
I'm able to find those high quality people. Otherwise, it's just so fucking difficult, man. Finding good editors, finding good designers, reliable people. Like high
Yeah,
agency
reliability
folks.
is the bigger problem, I
Yeah,
would say.
High agency folks in
Yeah.
general. So I think
Yeah,
that's also
100%.
just a plus of being around for a while, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to kind of
Yeah. And being one more advantage of being like just being around is you see things pan out.
correct.
All the reliable
Correct.
people just keep showing up, bro.
Correct.
And you know how reliable hai ye.
And
This is
like,
automatic.
everything is such a relationship building exercise,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, just you keep doing these things for a while, and
Yeah.
you don't worry about the short term thing. You
Correct.
know, like money. Money is a problem, or this thing, or
Yeah.
or work
Exactly.
is not happening. This is not. Just stick with it. You know,
Exactly.
and you find good people.
Yeah, today for me also it was pretty much autopilot, bro. I was like, कैसे करेंगे? Sleep नहीं हो, मतलब whatever was happening, different, but like आना है, करना है.
Yeah,
I have to just come,
correct.
show up,
Just have to
do
show
my
up.
shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, this year for me has been that way.
Hmm.
कि especially the first 3 months were just like figuring things out, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, first 3 months were very frustrating because I'm like, fucking episode is not going out, man. Like fucking 2 weeks,
Yeah.
3 weeks were taking.
Yeah.
That Priyanshu episode took like God knows how many ages to edit.
2 months actually.
2 months to edit.
2 months
man.
to edit.
But I mean,
That was
clearly
actually
now
our
we
most
have-
frustrating period, I would say.
Probably.
We were like,
What
भाई
were you doing
वो
in that?
निकल
अच्छा,
नहीं
we
रहा
were
है,
doing
क्यों नहीं
other,
निकल
like,
रहा है?
client work also, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were also fixing your agency thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Now, I mean, now it's kind of been crazy of the amount of volume that we have been able to put out.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, considering our team size, what we are able to push out, insane.
yeah, with like 3-4 people.
4 people.
Yeah, pretty
It's
crazy.
too crazy.
But yeah, you wanted to talk about like the setup and how we do the podcast also, right?
Yeah. Generally, I don't know if people are curious, but some things that have been helping us at least, and in terms of evolving how we have been able to produce this on an overall setting has been very interesting. One, I think like we should approach this like piece by piece. Like, okay, what have we improved in our pre-production? So one game changer thing that we have done is to get, this is a great question from our guests. So something that we understood in like one of our first few guest episode is that once guest says this is it's a great question, automatically means that they are more involved into the conversation because they feel they have been known, they have been heard better.
Yeah, setting the conversation up is very important. Yeah.
Correct. And I think that became a very big game changer for us as like we moved
After
ahead.
the Rohit Sanand episode, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, we haven't exactly been able to consistently continue with it, but we got that realization that hey, like this is something that we just like stumbled upon and it's working. Yeah.
And also our I don't know if like this is a good thing or a bad thing. One thing that we have been able to do now more consistently is that even after all our pre-production is done, an hour or hour and a half before the episode, we are able to take the call of, okay, what should be the direction of the episode, and should it be this, like whatever we have done until now, should it be that or should we change? I think that has been like a very big game changer, at least from what I can see. It's because we are way more committed when, like, that last 1.5 hour before the call we take. I think that specifically has become like a very huge thing for us.
Yeah. I'd say two things there. One is sometimes we've been able to have that point of view way before the episode. Which
True.
is ideally what
Correct.
you want to have.
Yeah.
Like the Sanand one, I had that, the thumbnail that really worked, the book one.
Right.
I had that in my mind like a week before the episode.
Correct.
And we knew exactly, hey, we'll do
Right.
the playbook
Huh.
thing. The sort of the important key part is that, hey, we have this half an hour period where we just like chill with the guest.
Yeah, yeah,
And-
that to
and
help.
That's where we, like in my head at least subconsciously, I litmus test if the point of view we have is good or not.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So like with Sanand, when we were sitting, we talked about the same thing that we wanted to talk about in the episode.
Correct.
Right? But if you remember the Sindhu episode that we just did last week, we had some other approach. When we started talking, we went down that brand wala route. And then
Right.
we were like, hey, this is interesting, let's just record this.
Yeah.
Right? So I think having that sort of icebreaker period, or we just chilling, we order
Yeah,
some coffee,
true.
we just like show him around.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the studio, this is
Yes.
that. That becomes
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
piece in the puzzle.
True.
And that, exactly like you said, it helps us sort of pivot in real time.
Yeah.
That, hey, we're feeling that energy. Okay, let's talk about
Let's
this.
talk about this. Yeah. Order good coffee, tea.
That
or
Bonomi
whatever.
thing was such a serendipitous moment.
Yeah.
So basically, we ordered Bonomi coffee for the Sanand episode.
Yeah.
And he looked at it, he's like, oh, like you could see the difference in his face, right?
True.
Like, oh, you guys like Bonomi? Oh, I am the first investor.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's
Actually, I should shout out to Bisma. She was the person who introduced me to Bonomi. And she took me to the place. I'm like, oh, this is nice. You should order this.
Right.
So the first person who showed me, I'm like, oh, bro, what a so cool place.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that was... So that's what we do on the pre-production side.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell people what you do on the production side?
Production, we have tried to keep things fairly simple because we manage our cameras. Like, even though we are sitting in the episode recording, we are actually the people who manage all the equipment that's running, not running, everything that's happening. We are only maintaining. So we want to keep it simple and straightforward. So we have 2 lights, 2 cameras, and
2 or 3 mics.
3 mics and 1 recorder. So thankfully we have a recorder, so we know what is happening
Dude, you know
real time
how many-
always.
I don't know if you've gotten DMs. I've gotten so many DMs, at least like half a dozen,
Right.
saying that, dude, what AI do you use to improve your audio? I'm like, no AI.
No
I have
AI,
one
bro.
physical device.
Proper recording.
Yeah.
And it's like, not just the recorder. You start building that understanding of, how do I record in my recorder to get the best output.
Correct.
One, we have like a fairly quiet place, unless it's very windy. Then it's a little like noisy. But
Yeah.
outside that,
Yeah, you're the only one
listening
I
always.
can't
So
tell, yeah. But also, we talked about luck on the Suraj episode, right? And
Yeah.
the fact that if you think about it, most apartments don't have a place where you have 3 clean walls that are all white.
true.
From what I've seen.
Yeah.
Generally in Bangalore homes, you'll have like one door somewhere, window somewhere. You'll have some sort of like a cupboard, inbuilt cupboard, like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
you'll have one like TV.
Something will be there one
Something
side.
will be there.
One side is gone.
So it was so lucky for us to have a place where we had 3 walls.
Yeah.
And that is what gives us that iconic, like classic, pristine vibe.
Pristine look. Yeah.
Pure
Like hi-fi vibe.
Exactly.
And if most people see the actual, if you go to some of our posts, you will be able to see what the actual place looks like.
Correct.
But if you see the place, you will not believe this is where we shoot.
Yeah.
Most people will not believe
And
that
it's
that's
the-
where we shoot.
It's the combination of the light plus the white walls.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what also makes it easier because you have nothing in the background to sort of touch or optimize.
Yeah.
You don't need to do anything. So
Exactly.
I think it's luck, and it's that idea of you have to identify your unfair advantages.
Yeah.
You will always have it.
Yeah.
You have to identify what they are and make the most of them.
Correct. I mean, we might not have realized in the first few things that we were doing, but it became slowly clear to why it was very important for us. What do you think is like has been like a very big game changer for his post production.
Sarkati.
True. That is true.
I would say, I think I have done this a fair bit before.
Right.
This is I just made a YouTube video a couple days ago. This is my 4th attempt at podcasting. So I've been around
Crazy.
the block a little.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you have had enough chances to practice how to talk in front of people.
Enough to find out, enough found out enough. That's one. Second is that I think we've covered the basics, right? Like our thumbnails are great. We have intros. We know what we are talking about.
Right.
And overall, when you look at, I feel like we have slowly, like we've caught this one thing that no one else was really looking at, right?
True.
And then you layer post-production on top of that, then it just works, right? So also connecting the physical feel of the podcast that we are shooting versus the edit. Like you'll see the edit now has become more sort of background music heavy and like more cleaner.
Yeah. More finished.
Making it more
in overall.
refined.
Yeah.
Making it look more sort of premium and just like better Apple-esque, right? And I think also because of, I mean, a huge sort of this credit to our editor, right? And the fact that I've worked with him before. So it wasn't like I had, like we started working here and then I had to like train him or talk to him or give him a download of how I think.
Right.
I had been doing that for almost a year before this.
Got it.
So that was like the homework was already done. So when he joined, he knew the way that I thought. He knew, you know, how I thought about, let's say, distribution or how do you edit or, you know, what would be, what clips could be taken out. He also probably saw me talk, saw me shoot enough times before to have an understanding of, hey,
Right.
like this is that thing that will really work, right? So that intuition, I've been able to give him a download of my taste essentially. Part of it is that. Also, it's just the fact that he is aligned with what we are doing.
Right.
Like I wouldn't really call him an editor per se. He's more of like a content person.
Right.
With editing skills. So he understands platforms. Like so many times we have talked about all of this discussion around data has come from him.
Yeah.
Right. That hey, the people who are coming from external sources, this is the split of their watch time.
Right.
Or I'm able to talk to him one-to-one on like data things that are difficult to find otherwise.
Yeah.
So I think it's again like a sweet spot of just luck, right?
Yeah.
Finding a person that is that relevant for you. I think on the editing side, that is a huge part. And what else?
I would say Thumbpedia has also been like
Correct,
a
yeah.
very big game
Yeah.
changer for us overall.
I think again for me, like, I think just in general self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
And like I was saying, what is that BRD that you are taking? One thing that I would love to measure myself on is how many BRDs am I able to take in a quarter? BRD again is like bar raising decisions, right? So like how many such things are you taking a call on that is improving something, right? So for me, a bar raising decision was, hey, I'm making thumbnails, not just for myself, but for others. Now BRD there would be that, hey, like, can I optimize this further? Right? I'm going to like this one canvas and that canvas and this and that. Like, can I just like make it better? Right? And like, it'll save my time. It'll save the team's time. Probably like, you know, we can do something else with it long term. So Thumbpedia has been great. For people who don't know, Thumbpedia is like this app that I created, which is like Wikipedia, but for thumbnails. And then you can search for things within it, right? Like you can search for, hey, I'm looking for thumbnails with like that Twitter sort of UI, or I'm looking for thumbnails with a graph on it. I'm looking for thumbnails with for podcasting with like one face on it, two faces on it, three faces on it, four faces on it. So like just you can filter for like channel, format, lot of different things. So that's very helpful. Then I would say, I think at the end of the day, it's a lot to do with just like understanding the craft, right? Understanding that, hey, we're making videos, but who are we making it for? I think deep obsession with not just the outcome, but also like the process.
Right.
Of like doing these experiments. Like, I'm at least treating this like a startup, right? Like I'm treating it as like, hey, you are my co-founder, I have a team, we have a product, and the product is the show, every episode. So like how can we every week is an opportunity for us to do something better. It's literally that channel is a catalog of our improvement.
Yeah.
And if 2 or 3 episodes in a row, 3 is also too much. If 2 episodes in a row, I feel like we're not doing something more, then bro, I will start getting agitated. Dude, like, what the fuck are we doing? Right?
Right.
So, I think on the post and distribution side, that's kind of been my mindset.
Yeah. And I feel one of our biggest advantages has been being able to do simple things right every time.
Like,
Like making sure our production set is like in place every time we come in, we just make sure
I think our setup and teardown time has also
reduced quite a bit.
reduced like anything. I
Yeah.
think now it takes us maybe like 15 minutes.
Right.
Before it used to take like 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Now we can like set up and tear down just like that.
Yeah. And after that, our even after like a post research call has become okay, who is the video for? How are we going to line our questions for this episode?
We've also started thinking in that sense of, hey, like, what's the point of view?
Yeah.
What will be the thumbnail?
Who will
What
watch
be
this
the
episode?
title?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We are finishing our title thumbnail before our episodes, and we are getting to who is going to watch our episode. Then taking the final call on the day.
Yeah.
After that, it's been okay. Everything has to go on time. We have to communicate things in our team on time. All that has been falling in
I
place.
think that's also very important of like having, maybe we haven't done this officially, but just having those sort of very clear outcomes for each person.
Right.
In the sense that what is your responsibility? What is my responsibility? What is
Right.
Sarkati's? So like my responsibility is that, hey, like the titles and thumbnails are to be fucking phenomenal, and
Yeah.
like everyone has to be like, I'm enabling everyone to do their problems better. Like I would ideally want to be just like a problem solver, right? Because I've
Right.
done almost everything, every part of the process. I'm like, bro, kya problem hai? Batao. Like, what will take someone else like 2 hours, I'll finish it in like 5 minutes. Like I'll tell you what to do for like 5 minutes, right?
Right.
Like Sarkati's thing is ki, bro, episode has to go out on Friday,
time.
8 p.m.
Yeah.
Reels,
And he
5
makes
reels
sure.
have to go out every day or every week. Episode has to go out 8 p.m.
8
Now
p.m.
you figure out what to do.
What to do?
And I think that is so helpful because like this happened 2 days ago when I was giving him feedback on the hook. And he said that, hey, I asked you for this feedback 2 days ago. Now we don't have the time. And I said, you know what? Makes sense. Don't include this feedback because P0 is the deadline. Now it is on me next week to make sure that I give him this feedback, or I give him this feedback anyways for him to understand what I wanted. But P0 is deadline. Like it has to upload. So we backtrack from there, and then everyone is held accountable accordingly. But let's say if someone like a brand manager or like a VC or a podcaster or like a business owner who's looking to do a podcast were to be watching this, right? We're saying all of this for our show.
Yeah.
How does this apply to them?
See, at least from how I think about this, a lot of problems that we face is general problems. Like it might sound simple when we say ki, oh, you should know what the episode is going to be about, who's going to, listen to the episode. It's easier said than done, right? There have been quite a few times when we weren't sure what the episode is going to be about. Even though we have done like whatever research, we've still come and said, be like, bro, okay, we are going to record the episode. And there has been times when after the episode, we are thinking ki, oh, bro, like how is the episode going to look like? I feel a lot of like these findings or like these understandings that we are having throughout our recordings is something it's very applicable to most people who would be listening.
I also feel like it's kind of like that thing, right? Like we're practicing what we're preaching. One of the biggest unfair advantages that we have as service providers, especially in the podcasting space or the content space in general, is that like literally any advice that I'm giving anyone is something that I'm real time doing
Yes.
that day.
Yes.
Like in that moment.
Yes.
I'm giving you short form advice. I have a short form channel that I'm running right now.
Yeah.
And it's working, right? I'm getting like 6, 7, 8 figure views. I'm giving you podcast advice. I'm doing a podcast right now.
Correct.
And it's working. You can
Yeah.
see the quality. It's like
Yeah.
it's all public.
Yeah.
Right? So I think
Even with our today's episode, right? If somebody watches this, that curiosity will be there. How did you guys shoot?
correct.
because I'm sure like how it looks. I'm confident in how the episode is going to look.
Right.
So for me, it's obvious कि हाँ भाई मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ
Yeah.
it makes like 100% sense. It might
Exactly.
not like look. I mean, when I say it, it sounds simple, but it's not that simple.
Yeah. And I think, proof is in the execution, right? I was talking to like a prospect recently, and he was like, "Oh, my production is great," and I was like, "No, bro, it's not great." And then he wasn't getting it. So I opened the laptop and I was like, "Dude, this is my podcast. This is your podcast. Now you tell me which one is better." Now, if you say yours is still better, I can't do anything because like you have poor
Bad taste. Yeah.
I can't,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
you can't
What can you
overcome
say?
poor taste.
Yeah. But did he understand the difference when you showed him?
I think so. I've noticed. I mean, we've noticed this with clients a lot, right? Like
Yeah.
they heavily discount
Yeah.
certain parts of the process that are clearly very important. Like for example, I would say production is like the lowest effort thing that we do.
Yeah.
Close to the lowest effort
Yeah.
thing.
100%. Because now
I mean,
everything
purely,
is like.
even if you look at the amount of time that you do in production,
Yeah.
even in the day of let's say 4 hours of us being together, we spend like an hour on production total.
Yeah.
Right, that's an hour a week.
Yeah.
Compared to how much we spend on, let's say, discussing team calls, post reviews, distribution.
Yeah. Less than like 5%
It's
time.
nothing,
Actually. Yeah.
Right, it's a drop in the bucket. But at the same time, it's the highest ROI activity.
Yeah.
One of the highest, because that's
Yeah.
the first thing people are seeing.
Yep.
Right. I feel like that's incredibly important, right? Like I can literally be like, bro, literally send you a link, just check that out, and that's
That's
what we
it.
do,
Yeah.
right? Like that's all there is.
Yeah.
And a lot of these other agencies, even content agencies, like how many agencies are making content?
Very
Right?
few.
How many agencies are?
How many agencies are making content without the pure intent of selling?
Yeah.
I've seen like, bro, like
lot of
agencies,
are making content. Yeah, exactly.
their idea is to sell.
Correct.
And like, bro, like hire somebody to sell. No, why are you doing this?
No, I get it, right? It's their lead gen. In
Hacha,
a way, this is
okay.
also our lead gen, but like it's indirect.
Yeah.
Right. So
And-
I would say this is stronger because we are able to build an entire IP.
And also,
Separate
it's something that
of-
we like. Like,
Yeah.
lead gen may or may not happen, but we genuinely
lead
like
gen
what
will
we are
happen,
doing.
bro. Don't say that. Don't
Okay.
say for lead gen only.
No, okay.
No,
yeah. Lead gen will happen,
Lead
but
gen will happen.
but we are not like lead gen first.
It's a part. Yeah. It's
Correct.
a consequence. It's
Correct.
not the
Cause of
yeah.
this.
Yeah. I mean, it's a happy coincidence.
Correct.
Right. It's not the end goal.
Goal
for
of this. Yeah, because it makes no sense to make this into like a complete
I mean,
like.
you
oh,
could,
khud
but
hi
we
hai.
don't want to.
Huh.
Yeah, you could. We don't want to.
But yeah, I think that is
So
about.
for anyone listening, I would say one, our insights are very relevant and
Yeah.
it's very timely. It's very unique to have someone that is in the content space talking about content and not making content for the purpose of selling content, like you were saying, right? Because most of these people who have gone viral talking about, hey, you should do this, you should do that, it's very meta.
Yeah.
Like they're talking about content, they are making content about talking about content and then going viral, and then it's just like a pigeonhole, right?
Yeah.
But we are very different that way, because even if we don't want to talk about content, like the sort of intersection of business and creator economy, we're still kind of there.
Yeah.
Right. So
And we understand views are not as important as they seem.
correct. Yeah.
And
That's
I
what we
think
discussed in multiple episodes, right?
Correct.
Like Sindhu and KD
Huh.
and Suraj. Ki
yeah,
It's how much is that one view worth,
yeah,
right? So if let's say a company that's worth 1,000 crores versus a company that is worth like 10 lakhs, the same view will be massively different,
yeah,
because the conversion or the potential for someone to convert and buy something is
Yeah.
massively different.
yeah.
So if anyone watching, you need help with content, long form, short form, for yourself, for your brand, please, there is an email in the description. You can just reach out and we would love to see how we can help you.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else?
Nothing else. Thank you so much for watching the episode. If you are hanging around until now, we are pretty sure you love the episode. Please go down, hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, whatever you feel like doing, because we put an insane amount of effort to release this episode every single week, and it takes insane amount of effort to push this out. Just the fact of you showing that support to us will really keep us motivated and also help us get better guests for our future episodes. And we know and we would want to get better guests and better value to whoever is watching. Thank you. See you on the next one.